Okay, it is time for the next skill, next agent. It's one that I'm personally a fan of if you're using sequences. So let me explain. This skill is what I call the targeting idea skill. And it is based on the idea that whenever you're doing cold email, cold outreach, that the list is the message, right? So what that means is your you have your total addressable market. Within that market you have all these different smaller segments. Maybe you're saying, okay, we can serve all the product-led growth B2B SaaS companies, for example. But within there you have the ones that are smaller, bigger. You have ones that just launched a new integration. You have the ones that maybe have a little bit of a hybrid model. You have the ones that are doing SEO. You have the ones that aren't. You have the ones that use this tool, you have the ones that aren't, you have the ones that are growing, you have the ones that are shrinking. So all of those are just different micro segments or small lists that you could potentially go after, and all of those lead to specific messaging. If you have a company that's growing, you want to go in with a different value prop and different messaging than a company that isn't growing, company that is hiring. You can talk about, okay, see that things are going well, that you're growing. This is what's going to be important for your next stage, etc. That type of thing. So that is the idea here, and that is the skill that we're going to create. It is a little bit of an optional skill, I would say, because maybe you have a really clear idea of exactly who you're going to be targeting, who you want to be targeting, and you don't really need this one. It could give you some solid inspiration either way, just in case maybe you're thinking, okay, what are some of the different angles that I could be going after when I'm approaching my territory or when I'm doing sales. So we're going to create this skill. The idea is the list is the message. Just as with the last one, I'm actually going to be talking to Claude, talking to Whisper, going to transcribe it, and that's how we're going to create this skill. The idea is exactly the same. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background, and then we have that skill, and we can then tell that skill, hey, listen, based on the playbook that we have, create targeting ideas. So hey Claude, we're back, and we're going to create a new skill which is called targeting ideas. And with this skill, it is based on the idea that the list is the message. So it takes our go-to-market playbook that we have in this project about what our company does. It takes that and it turns that into different campaign ideas, because we have our larger market, but within that market there are just different things that we want to be looking at. There are different signals, different triggers, or there's different segments. And the idea is that for each of those segments we can write specific messaging, whereas if we go after our market and we write one message for our entire market, it's not going to resonate as much as if we're saying, okay, within our market, we're going to look at companies maybe that are growing, that are shrinking, that are hiring, not hiring, that are product-led growth, that are sales-led, that have this integration, they don't have that integration, that have specific keywords on our website, you name it. And all of that needs to be tied to what it is that we do as a company. So what are things that are just really important for us that we could be looking at that indicate a specific potential buying opportunity? So if we are selling SEO services, we could be looking at companies that aren't blogging, for example, to give you a bit of an example. And we also definitely always want to be looking at signals and triggers, where if maybe a new VP of sales started and they're in the first 6 months of the job, they are more likely to consider buying new products or services. So that is one of the signals that we want to look at. And then there are other common buying signals or triggers that we want to consider as well. And whenever I ask for targeting ideas, I want you to give me 10 different targeting or campaign ideas with a title, a description of the companies, including their geographic location, as well as the specific job titles that we're going to go after at those companies. So it's a description of the campaign that we're going to run. And Whenever they ask you for more ideas, you discount the last 10 ideas because those are ones that we kind of already ran. And then just give me 10 new ideas. And I want you to present them to me in a table that could be in a document. But I want them in a table, clearly numbered, so I can tell you, okay, campaign 1, 2, and 3, I like, etc. Alrighty, that was a big one. So this is the prompt again. You can have the skill, you can download it, you can have the prompt, just to give you an idea of how I think about targeting ideas and how I think about building this type of thing. And just again, to go through the motion of building another skill, another agent. And one thing I forgot is only trigger this skill when this specific command is typed. So I'm going to call it campaign suggestions again, because I already have targeting ideas, right? So just going to name them slightly different. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to create our new skill. So reading the go-to-market playbook, and then check the skill, etc., etc., etc. So it's going to go through all of that again, and it's going to build a new skill for us. If you want to be 100% sure, just say user skill, creation skill, just to make sure that it knows where to look. It's going to build this targeting idea skill for us. And then once that's done, we're going to create new targeting ideas, and we're going to take it from there, just for you to have an idea of what this is and how useful it is. There we go. So it's finished with the updated targeting ideas skill. So what it does, triggers campaign suggestions. So it only fires on this exact command. So now we have this skill agent available for us as well. So in my case, it says what changed from the previous version. That's because I already had the targeting idea skill installed, because I created it. And so it reads from the project go-to-market playbook, and then we have give me more logic, say, okay, thanks for the idea, but I want more. And then gives a table, etc. So we have that skill. We're going to download it. So targeting ideas skill, and we're going to install it the same way as we did with the other ones. And then I'm going to show you an example what it looks like. Then we have that, and I'm going to show you another example of how you can use that for different verticals. So let's just install it really quickly. So I'm going to add skill, upload a skill. So in my case, again, it's asking me to replace it, and it's uploaded. So now we know campaign suggestions is what we're looking for. So I'm going to say campaign suggestions, and that is now my agent, my command I have at my disposal. And I can say do this for a specific vertical. So generate ideas for the B2B SaaS vertical, for example. And that way you can just go vertical by vertical, or you can do it for your entire market, whatever it is that you want. So it just jumps straight into the right skill, which is exactly what we wanted, why we're using these commands. It reads the campaign suggestion skill, it knows what to do, and it extracting text from the, in our case, Octave GTM playbook, and then it's going to actually start generating this. So as it's generating, I'll just quickly run through it. So campaign title is, for example, new RevOps leaders in their first 90 days, or Clay power users hitting prompt fatigue. So US-based mid-market B2B SaaS companies actively using Clay for enrichment. GTM engineers are spending 60% of the time rewriting prompts and templates per segment. And that's actually something that Octave helps with their new programmatic outbound. So post Series B scaling outbound teams. So US-based B2B SaaS companies that raised Series B in the last 12 months are now actively hiring for 5+ SDR account executive roles, signaling a major outbound push that will need centralized messaging. And Octave helps with centralized messaging, which is great, because now we can say, okay, great, number 3 sounds good. Let's actually do that. And as you can imagine, the messaging for this, for US-based B2B SaaS companies, just raised Series B, they're hiring, so they're in that growth trajectory. The messaging for them is going to be very different than for your new RevOps leaders in their first 90 days, or Clay Power users. You can use these ideas and just use them as input for sequences. You can launch your own campaigns this way. Just use it for inspiration and say, ah, yeah, you know what? I hadn't thought of that. Okay, let's actually start, let's actually use this. So that's how we use the campaign ideas skill. And then you can use that to say, okay, I'm going to launch this campaign and write a specific sequence for that. And that's already going to be a great message. Or I'm going to launch this campaign. And then within that campaign, for every single person, I still want to write an individual message. Those are things that we're going to do next. But before we do that, we're going to actually build the skill that builds these lists, right? So your US based B2B SaaS companies that raise Series B, etc., we actually want that list to be built because we don't want to do it ourselves. Now, in our case, I'm going to use Exa. I'm a big fan of Exa. Maybe it is in your stack, maybe it isn't. I would suggest that you adopt it because it's great. But then again, you can do something pretty similar with other tools that have official connectors. Maybe you're using Zoom Info, maybe you're using other tools that are in here. You can do pretty much the same with those tools. Or you can say, okay, you know what? I have a different tool. They don't have a connection with Claude. Okay, this is already very helpful. I'm just going to build that list myself, import it back into Claude and say, you know what? Here's the list now. Do the research, write the messaging, or just say, okay, Claude, the list, I built it. It's already in Outreach, already in Salesloft. Now write me the sequence for that list. Thank you very much. Copy and paste it into there. There you go. Just whatever your workflow looks like kind of depends on your stack and whether or not you're flexible on different tools that you're going to bring into it. In my case, I've built my go to market HQ, my operations to be able to function completely in a sequence. So I can just say, okay, go to market playbook, ideas, great. Now build me the list, great. Now find me the emails, great. Thank you very much. Now, the add the messaging, great. Now start sending it. Oh, great, great. Now I have a call, tell me what to do. So if you follow along and you adopt the same tools that I've adopted, you can do it exactly like that, or maybe with some small tweaks with your current stack, you can do it like that. And that is something that we're going to jump into now. So we're progressing. We already have some very helpful skills. Now we know how to build skills, and we're going to start building our next one.